Good evening. Phil Lindemann with your Krystal 93 News from Luna Lending.
They had gone to the high school and not found the expected person or the threat that came, the person who was supposed to be there with a bomb and a gun.
That was Superintendent Dr. Tony Byrd of Summit Schools, walking us through the events that led to a district-wide lockdown for a bomb threat this week.
It was a recommendation from law enforcement to me to lock down your other schools just in case. There have been cases around the country of decoys.
He made the call.
And I said, well, based on that, we're going to go full lockdown.
Does he regret it?
It was the safest thing we could do. It might have been unnecessary, but it was much better for us to ensure safety through a lockdown than take that risk.
Byrd admits messaging about the lockdown could have been better, but he cannot share too much with parents or teachers.
There's information that we really can't share, and that's for a couple of reasons. One, for the integrity of the investigation. It could really make the investigation go south and actually ruin the opportunity to close the situation. And two, it could put our students in more jeopardy.
His message today for everyone in the district.
I like to say safety is about physical, intellectual, and emotional safety. So I do want to add in that when I say intellectual, it should be fine for any student to bring a different perspective to the room. And so we have to work on that in our classrooms. And emotionally, mental health issues are off the charts, for lack of a better way of saying that.
Summit's lockdown protocol is based on a template from a conifer nonprofit, I Love You Guys. Lockdown expert Brad Stiles with the state-run School Safety Resource Center.
The action of lockdown is still considered a gold standard.
Stiles agrees with local authorities. The Summit High bomb threat sounds like a swatting call.
Many times we don't know where they're coming from. People are making these calls from overseas. And, better safe than sorry.
But could this swatter be targeting Summit schools based on other threats of violence made by a Glenwood man 2 weeks ago?
Seems to be fairly random. Obviously there are going to be those ones that are very specific, from somebody, say, in the local community to a school. But for the most part, and this is anecdotal, we're seeing them kind of come from anywhere, and they're kind of just picking a place that sounds interesting.
The superintendent again, with a message now for his teachers.
It is incredibly important this entire county wrap its arms around supporting our teachers and our educators. I'm super worried that our educators are not getting the love they deserve for the work they do every day. And this kind of situation that we've worked through is pushing people out of the profession and keeping people from coming in.
You can show love to local teachers by donating gift cards. Drop them off at the district admin building in Frisco by the middle school. This week on the State of Summit, recent reports of erupting lithium-ion batteries have locals on edge. A Gypsum woman says her son's electric skateboard caught fire this week. Days earlier, 2 e-bikes scorched a garage in Vail. Summit Fire confirms no recent reports of damaging lithium-ion fires here in Summit. Steve Lipsher.
It's the type of thing that we do plan on, think about, and train for.
These battery fires are not exactly common.
Certainly not when you compare that with the number of fires from tractor trailers overheating their brakes or engine compartment fires in passenger vehicles.
But they are uncommonly volatile.
It requires an enormous amount of water to fully extinguish these things. The fires are really tenacious.
The fire department's advice?
Don't just plug something in and forget it. Set a timer on your watch or on your smart speaker and come back in an hour and make sure that you haven't overcharged your batteries on these things.
Tune in again next week for the State of Summit on Krystal 93. In sports, making its debut at Loveland this month are paid snowcat tours to Dry Gulch. Those tours have been in the works for years, covering 580 acres of gladed high alpine terrain just east of the Loveland boundary. First tour was last week. And in local sports, Summit High girls basketball is playing Battle Mountain at home tonight. Phil Lindemann with your Krystal 93 News from Luna Lending.